In this video, I'm going to show y'all how I made the vibes. What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome to the channel. My name is Kamal Akeem, and today I'll be breaking down how I made the vibes, like I said in the very beginning of this video. But before we get started on that, I just wanted to have some fun. I have this effect on Ableton called Ovox that I bought. It's kind of like a vocoder.
And it is so much fun. So yeah, you know, I play more intros like this with this, like, you know, on my voice. Yeah, if I should, let me know if I should. Keep it to yourself. This is, I highly recommend people just buy this microphone and just have fun. Anyways, enjoy the video. My bad. Enjoy the video.
Okay, so when I began making this project, the track, what am I talking about? Anyways, when I started working on this, I started with the melody, which is just a chord going up, which is a D flat major chord, which a D flat major 7 chord, which includes D flat, C sharp, literally the same note on the keyboard. Depending on what key you're in, they'll be named differently. Like if you were to have a C sharp, you can't have a regular C. So since there's a regular C, it's D flat. You got D flat, F, A flat, not G sharp, and C, and it just goes up and down. It's going actually in a triplet pattern. I think it's going by quarter note triplets. It is going by quarter note triplets. And the difference between quarter note triplets and a regular quarter note is, notice, you're gonna get 6 triplet notes, and they just all take up the space within one measure, whereas with a regular quarter note, it would just get, I'm just gonna put some right here at the bottom, you would only get 4, but with those you get 6 because it's now divided with getting them into a different pattern. It's very easy. I'm just making this way more complicated than it is. Let's get rid of those. But that's what I started off with. I started this actually on FL Studio, not Ableton. I use both, but I'm more used to using Ableton now because I got the full version. So this is how it sounds. And then the notes changed. So with it starting on D major 7, D flat major 7, it goes down to C. So it goes into C minor 7. That's what it goes into. Yes, C minor 7. I was confused for a second. I think the next thing I added on there with the drums, it was just something simple. You know, something like this. Same thing when I did like West Coast Kilos. A lot of my beats, I don't really go for something too complex. So it was just pretty easy. And you notice with it, it's a little bit on the grid, a little bit off. Some are closer to each other than others. It's kind of like a little bit swing, a little bit quantized, and a little bit both. Quantization swing, let's call it that. It's not, but you know, it sounded good, and I think it just works for it. The next thing I did with the chords, I froze it because so that way I could just lessen the CPU that was being used upon. But it's just some regular, just a quick chord progression. I don't remember the chords exactly, but here's the chord progression. That right there, just normal chord progression, and I'll just keep going and going on with it. If I had thought about this, I would have copied and pasted that into a different track and shown y'all the original MIDI. But yeah, next part of it is literally the same chords progression, but I shortened it down. I remember that, and I just shortened it to like quick 16th notes, so it kind of gave it some syncopation, some rhythm to it. And then I'll prolong the last two chords in there. And the reason for that, I just wanted to give it something different. I didn't want it to keep going the same way, you know. Especially, you know, when you listen to instrumentals aren't that long, and you want something different, something new, keep going on. So, you know, I couldn't think of anything, so I was like, oh, okay, let me just change the rhythm for the chords. I don't normally change rhythm up for my chords, so I just wanted to give y'all something a little different. And also, like, it kind of gives, like, you know, kind of like a house dance kind of vibe to it. And then, you know, after that, we got some bass. And from this one, I used Contact. I didn't use Contact, I used Reactor, and I used their, I used Monarch. I used Monarch and the soft womp preset. For what I used for the chords, I used the Electric 200 from Waves. So it's an E-piano, just like a regular electric E-piano. And this one from Contact, this is from Hybrid Keys. For the melody, I'm just gonna go back to where I was. It's called Atmospheric for that one, so I just want to show y'all everything I did on there. And back to the bass line here, it's just following the bass notes from the chords, so it wasn't C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, D flat, my bad, C, E flat, D flat, and E flat. It's hard when they have sharps in there instead of the flats, so it's kind of confusing sometimes. But when you figure it out, you figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And this is just all the bass line is. If you got some headphones in, it's probably gonna help a little more. Bass lines are like not my strongest suit, so I just kind of keep it simple when I'm doing them. But I'll follow the pattern sometimes of the actual chord progression, so similar, just like right here. I'm gonna bring this up. I kind of like it, you know, and that soft womp preset kind of gives it, you know, exactly what it sounds, the womp sound. So womp, 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 womp. I look ridiculous. But I just enjoyed it for that. And then next thing I just added was just some hi-hats to the original part to it. It's nothing too crazy. It's literally just 8th notes and the 16th notes. That's not hi-hat stuff. That's definitely bass. And down here I just lowered the velocity on like the upbeats on the 8th note. So on like the 1, 2, and 3s, it's a little bit louder. And then yeah, so that way it's just not clashing in terms of sound. And then here's the fun part. I knew I wanted to, after like that whole part was over, I wanted to change it up. So I kept the melody the same. But what I did differently was I changed the key. So originally, I think it was in Not sure. I can't even think about what it'd be in. I think in E flat major. I think that was the original key it was in, and I brought it down to, I think F major. I think F major. So this is like same melody and same triplet melody from the beginning, but it's just in a different key, so it gets a whole different feel now. So I was like, that's a little bit different, you know. It's like, it's kind of funny. That's the same melody as before, but you change the key, and it just goes into a whole different mode and a whole different mood, and it's so, that's so cool to me, honestly. You can just change a whole feeling of a song just by changing the key. And I added this cool little, like, you know, hi-hat pattern. I was kind of going crazy with it. It's not too complex. It's pretty simple. It's just, I'm actually literally playing the notes that are in the key of F. So this is it. Solo this out. Yeah, something simple. And right here I have it rising up in terms of loudness. It starts off pretty soft and it just gradually blows up like a quick little crescendo on there. And I wanted to give it, since it's like a new mood, new key, I gave it a new, not also new hi-hat pattern, but new drum pattern too. Quick, simple, and easy, but it's effective to me. And then right there, I put that along with everything else, and you got this. Right there, and then after that, I add in the chords, and it's from the same plugin as the original one. I just put this in MIDI, and this all sounds like just 3 quick chords. Give that space, you know. You can feel like the tension in it, like towards this second grouping of chords. I just felt like it blended well into it. You could feel the tension, but it still felt warm and it still felt perfect with it. You know, it's a perfect. It's a good couple to go along with the melody and everything else. And also, a thing I did, I added a delay completely by accident. I did not mean to add a delay effect into the melody, but because I was trying to add saturation to it, a saturator effect, but it kept putting a delay in there. And to be honest, it actually sounds really cool. So here's what it sounds like with the delay right here. Now it just sounds like, it sounds part of the melody and also gives like a little bit of ear candy, because you know the delay gives, you know, a little bit of something left behind, because that's what the delay is, trying to catch up to the beat. And so with everything on there right there, here's what it sounds like. And I'm gonna go back to the beginning about right here to where all the stuff comes in together right here too, so that way y'all can hear it there. That's basically just, you know, the whole beat. I arranged it, you know, give some spots some shine. I took the melody out a little bit so that way you can just hear the chords and the bass, like right here. It's nothing but just a snare, no kick, and the hi-hat, chords, and the bass. And I'm gonna show you like the effects I use real quick. For the melody, I added a chorus, reverb, of course the delay, that's it, and I did add saturator on there. For the hi-hats, nothing. The drum rack, I put compression on there and another compression gate, and I EQ'd it. I think the compression gate is from Drum and Bus, the drum bus effect, which if anyone here has Ableton or wants to get into music production, I do suggest Ableton because the drum bus effect is amazing. Like, I'm gonna play the drums real quick again and show you without the compression right there. See, you hear that? That it kind of wakes it up, kind of makes it a little bit more alive. So if you ever manage to get, Ableton Standard or Ableton Suite, use that drum bus, I highly suggest using it every time. Depending on how you want your drums to sound, if you want your drums to have that impact, I really do highly suggest getting the drum bus. It is amazing. And also, use the EQ as much as you can. EQing is awesome. For the piano, nothing. I didn't use anything for the piano. I'm surprised. For the bass line, I EQ'd it. I took a lot of the high end and just kept the mid and the bass, the low end. I have a saturator on there just to give it like that warm feeling so you can hear a little bit more. And again, for the chords, I didn't make any effects on it, but I do like the way it came out, because sometimes you don't need everything out of it. Like, literally, if you're gonna mix, you can just level stuff, and as you can see, some stuff is set to the standard 0. The bass line is brought down a little bit. Again, the chords are set to 0. Drums are down a little bit, but not too much, because I didn't want to lower them down like that. The hi-hats really should be lowered a lot of times, because hi-hats are really loud. I don't know if you ever heard someone walking on the street with headphones on, but you'll, depending on what they're listening to, you can hear the hi-hats. Like, it's crazy. And the melody itself set to 0, so everything's kind of set to default. The melody and chords set to default, and everything else is kind of lowered a little bit out, just to give you some spacing. Mixing, when it comes to mixing stuff like that, and you're going about, I would highly always suggest that you just work on leveling first before you add any effects. Just add some leveling into it, and then when you add the effects, it'll make it sound a little bit more brighter. It's literally like an effect. It affects the sound. But all in all, again, in these long breakdowns, that is how I made this beat. This is how I made the vibes. The reason I call it the vibes is originally just titled Interesting on my laptop. I couldn't think of a name, and I was like, you know what? This is like, kind of going with my thing. I love saying the word vibe, so it really was the vibes. I was, I feel like people can vibe out to it and just enjoy it. It's very chill. It's very, a little dancey, got a little groove to it. You know what I'm saying? So I might do something with it. I might put it on a project. I might spit some bars on it. You never know what Kamal's gonna do with his music. You never know. Or maybe you do. Am I that predictable? No. Anyways, y'all have a great day. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. All that good stuff really helps out me and the channel. This has been the first beat that I've released. First piece of music I released for the 100-day music challenge, where I'm releasing music for 100 days in a row. And I'm also making a video breaking down each project I make. It's a lot. This is gonna take a lot out of me, but I'm very excited. This is gonna be a lot of fun. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Peace out. One love. Support the channel.